2022 silly season was the craziest part, really, of 2022. And what resulted in that crazy silly season? Well, it was a guy called Fernando Alonso who decided he's going to leave Alpine and go to Aston Martin. What if I told you I changed that butterfly effect and Fernando Alonso now owns his own Formula One team and is a driver and owner? Obviously, the team will need a team principal, a sponsor, a teammate actually to have, and a reserve driver. I will be giving you all those details for Fernando Alonso's F1 team in the sport. Fernando Alonso is a legend in our sport, and it wouldn't even surprise me that in the future we could see a team from Fernando Alonso. Now, does he have the funds for it? I'm not sure, but in this hypothetical situation, he does, and he is loaded. But also, sponsors have came to him because they want him to succeed in Formula One. For Fernando Alonso's title sponsor, I went with a brand that has never marketed itself ever actually in any type of marketing, but now wants to market itself due to Fernando being a Spaniard and somebody that they very much love. The owner loves him, and the brand really would love to get around him being in Formula One, and that brand is Zara. Zara is the title sponsor for this Formula One team, working together with Fernando, and Fernando's title sponsor that he's always had is Kamoa. So Zara and Kamoa are the biggest title sponsors for this team, equating to about 100 million altogether, getting to that cost cap of about 150 million in a year. Other sponsors that are on the car, as you can see, I am wearing a Mercedes shirt. So yes, Fernando Alonso is using Mercedes engines, and if the answer isn't clear enough for you, the reliability is great, the power is great, he has no reason why not to use Mercedes engines. Renault has failed him when it came to the engines. So many unreliable issues. The car has died over and over again, resulting in so many point losses. Ferrari looked like a very unreliable car in 2022. It was a team he was debating. He was debating Ferrari or Mercedes, but at the end of the day, he was like, listen, this Mercedes engine is really reliable. Sorry, Ferrari, you're getting cut out. But was Honda ever in discussion? No, we know what Fernando Alonso went through in his McLaren years when they were with Honda. And he doesn't want to suffer any type of fate like that, even if they have proven themselves good for 2021 and 2022. He doesn't trust that Honda engine and will not go for it in these years with his Formula One team. So Mercedes is the engine sponsor, and we have Zara as the title sponsor. Now, who will be the team principal leading this beautiful team, huh? Well, I didn't want to pick a team principal on the grid because that wouldn't be fair. These guys are all competing against Fernando, right? So I decided to go with a guy that has Formula One knowledge and that I think should still be in the sport as a team principal. And I went with Cyril. Yes, now let me give you why I picked Cyril. Cyril himself has proven that he is a good team director, I would say. He brought in Daniel Ricciardo. He actually made Daniel Ricciardo feel really much at home. Sure, did Daniel leave? Yes, but that is not to do with Cyril, but more his faith in the engine when he came in 2019 for leaving. Well, Cyril backs up his guys like no other. He reminds me a little bit of Christian Horner and how Christian Horner backs up his guys. So we need somebody to stand by Fernando on the decisions that he's going to make. As a team principal, even though Fernando is the owner, we need somebody that's kind of going to sit there, pipe him down a little bit if he needs to, keep him calm, and keep him ready for the season to come. Cyril is that guy to do it. I definitely think that he is the guy that would help that team advance, as well as keeping Fernando nice, calm, and down to earth. With Cyril being in the team, who do you think I brought for Fernando Alonso to have by his side? Yep, Fernando wanted by his side Daniel Ricciardo. Yes, this team is Fernando and Daniel, and the reason why I brought them two together was because I think that they would make a great matchup pairing. Personalities, I think, are not as similar as maybe like Lando and Ricciardo, like they were on the team, but they do match up in competitiveness. They would be fair teammates, they're fair racers, and they could probably learn some things from each other. Now, Fernando is obviously the better driver, but he does need a good backup, and Daniel could be that great backup just in case if they are fighting for the title. So, with this now, we have our main sponsor as Zara, we have our team principal as Cyril, we have the team as Fernando and Daniel Ricciardo, who is the reserve driver just in case these guys get sick, something happens, some commotion comes up, well, I decided to go with another teammate that Fernando Alonso actually had, and his name is Stoffel Van Dorn, because he is a reserve driver, but also now a champion in Formula E, and that is a big thing to put on your resume, enough to impress Fernando, and to have him in the team as a reserve driver, working on the simulator, seeing if there's anything that they can improve. These components bring us to the team that is Alonso Zara Racing. This is the team with its full, put together resume. For the actual race suit itself, well, the colors that we decided to go for are red with yellow on the sides, kind of representing his home country, as well as the colors that would probably match up with that Kamoa sponsor that he always has on his helmets. It goes with a lot of his sponsors as well, and as I'm bringing up to Sue, I will mention the other sponsors that are on the car that you will see in a bit, but as well on the race suit. Here is the race suit for Alonso Zara Racing for the 2023 season. Now, as you've seen, there are not many sponsors on this race suit. Well, to tell you, first of all, Zara has actually decided to make replicas of this suit and sell it in stores for a ridiculous amount of price, but Zara is a clothing manufacturer. You know, they're going to use this to their max. They also are the title sponsor and giving over 60 million towards this car, so they deserve to have some rights over something, and the suit was what they went with. So as you can tell, this is on a mannequin, and this is at the Zara showing actually of how that suit is going to look, but also the suits that the drivers will be wearing. And there aren't many sponsors on this suit, but Zara decided to be the one on the front. Kamoa is on the suit multiple times. They have their number a couple of times in the suit, and Citibank is also a big sponsor on the back, which is a sponsor that is with Fernando Alonso, and a sponsor that has followed him around for a long period of time. It is one of Fernando's really biggest sponsors that he's had. So they are also on the race suit, which we will be seeing Fernando Alonso, Daniel Ricciardo, and Stoffel Van Dorn wearing throughout the 2023 season. The big thing that's brought all of you here is to see the car livery for itself. How did Fernando want to design this car? Well, as you can see in the suit, it looked pretty simple. The car is a lot less simple, I would say. It's slick, it's nice, but it follows that same type of color scheme with yellow and that dark red, specifically metallic, with some black accents and some white accents. Here is the 2023 Alonso Zara Racing livery that they will be racing in. As you can see, there are some more sponsors as well on this car. And yes, they are all sponsors that Fernando has kept throughout his whole entire career. Starting with Adidas, another sponsor that decided to give at least 10 million for Fernando's project to get him closer to that cost cap. He put in an Adidas sponsor. They are on the car, and they actually are the shoes that the drivers are wearing. Adidas is the big sponsor for their clothing with Zara. Another sponsor that they decided to go with, and a sponsor that actually has stuck with Fernando for years and years, is Bang & Olufsen. Yes, they are the speakers that are actually really nice speakers. They decided to stay with Fernando Alonso, follow him onto his project, keep up with him, and see what he can make out of this Formula One project. Another sponsor that you probably don't even remember, but yes, Fernando Alonso did make an energy drink at some point. Raw Energy was the drink. That is also a sponsor on this car. Not a big one, but it is there. And as I mentioned, Citibank, Zara, and Kamoa itself are obviously the biggest sponsors on this car and are seen most onto this car. Obviously, the livery is designed with this slick yellow line going through it with a couple of white accents, white on the fin, black on the fin, but this car is also customly made. It is a car that follows the 2022 regulations, but looks different to every other car. I didn't just copy and paste the model it was made hand in hand with someone else to give you kind of like what type of car I would think Fernando would like to bring onto the grid. Now, obviously, I'm not no aerodynamicist, so this car isn't bringing you the most insane results, probably going to be the slowest car on the grid. But let's think about it like it is, like an insane looking car. I tried going with an aggressive look, but following some of the trends that we have seen for the 2022 season. Obviously, with that downward wash going into the floor being a big part of it, obviously. The front wing is important. It's lifted higher than usual. The back is smaller and more towards kind of how Red Bull had the back geared. It isn't as big of a back like a Ferrari car per se or a Alfa Romeo. It definitely follows more of that Red Bull / McLaren type look. It's skinny, and the part where the engine is as skinny as possible as it can be. As you can tell, the gills on the car are only in one position, and because the car is actually really good on reliability, which is one of Fernando's biggest things, the actual gills themselves only needed to be a little bit towards the engine just in case to get some cooling other than the actual side pods themselves. The side pods are quite small actually, and bring in enough cooling to actually make the car go as fast as it possibly can. Seeing the car and seeing the race suit, what do you guys think? Do you think Fernando Alonso has an actual possibility of making a Formula One team in the future? Now that he is with Aston Martin, obviously he will stay with them for years to come, but will he ever think about opening his own Formula One team or managing his own Formula One team, being the team principal or the actual owner himself? You guys tell me your thoughts down below. Do you think this is a possibility, and do you guys love what I made? A lot of hard work actually went into this video. It took a lot of time to make this, so I'll really love a like and a subscribe. It would mean the world. And peace.